Hello guys, Lit here. So this is a strategy that I've been doing since day one. Not this version, but eventually it become this versions. So this is a Conqueror post rushing. So what we're doing here is we're going to run a very specific map, which is a map that contain a Conqueror bosses. There are 4 Conqueror bosses: Baran, Veritania, Alhasbin, and Drox. And this map will have 2 bosses. The first one is the map bosses original from the maps, and the second one is the Conqueror boss. And we're going to run this map with Maven Witness. And that's mean whenever you do each one of this, you will have to do Maven invitations, and that way you can do the Maven Witness again because Maven only witness once. And the reason why we're doing Maven Witness is because we are playing with Destructive Play. Destructive Play is a keystone on your passive tree, which is going to make Maven spawn 1, 2, 3 additional bosses whenever you encounter the map boss. But in this specific map, Destructive Play also can trigger whenever you encounter the Conqueror boss, which most of the time not gonna happen, but it can happen in a very specific cases with Mirage area. And Maven spawn 1 to 3 additional bosses depending on how much you clear the map. So the first thing you're going to do whenever you enter the maps is to clear everything first before you encounter the map bosses. And the same thing also goes for the Mirage area. You need to clear everything first before you encounter the map boss. And yes, Mirage area can also cover the map bosses, and that's basically going to duplicate the map boss too. And that also include the Guardian bosses. And with Influence, Scarab, or Interference, these map bosses going to be accompanied by a random Shaper Guardian, Elder Guardian, Conqueror, or Synthesized bosses, which I will refer as Guardian boss. So with 1 original map boss, with 3 additional coming from Maven, and with the Guardian boss that spawned by the Scarab of Interference, that become 8. And plus 1 Conqueror boss. And with the Mirage area, if the Mirage area also hit the map boss, you're going to double that amount, which basically become 18. And because we have to clear the entire maps anyway, I'm using Horn Scarab of Pandemoniums. And Horn Scarab of Pandemonium will have a 15% chance to replace the monster pack in your maps with random Atlas bosses. However, these Atlas bosses will not be affected by the Scarab Interference. It will be broken if it is, but Horn Scarab of Pandemonium with Deliriums will give you quite a lot of additional map boss. So in a nutshell, we have a lot of map bosses inside the maps, but what we get from them? The first thing that can drop from all of these map bosses, including the one from Horn Scarab of Pandemonium, is Astrolopes. Astrolopes is a new currency on this league, and some of them is crazy expensive, for example like Grab's Astrolopes. So the addition of the Astrolope make this strategy become very lucrative. And these map bosses also can drop you in Eldian Guardian map, Shaper Guardian maps, Conqueror maps, and Synthesized map. And for the Conqueror boss, they can drop a specific Exalted Orbs for the Conqueror. And after that, you can also get Originator maps. And with the Mirage mechanic, you can get Mirage maps and also Mirage plus Originator map, which is quite expensive. And there's also a bunch of additional stuff you can get, for example like normal currency, scarabs, and all that stuff. But that is the main target of this strategy. Now let's talk about all the details. The first one, let's start with maps. We're going to use a special maps that have a Conqueror boss that I mentioned earlier. The first thing you need to do is to make all of them rare and roll them, and then you want to make sure all of them have 6 modifier with Exalted Orbs. Now Exalted Orbs is really cheap this league, so this is not going to cost too much. And the reason why you want to have 6 mod is to get as much quantity and pack size as you can. Quantity will make you more likely to drop the Exalted Orb from these Conqueror bosses and also map. And the pack size is going to increase the number of monsters inside your maps, which increase the number of map bosses that are going to spawn by Pandemoniums. And after that, you want to use Delirium Orbs. It doesn't have to be Cartographer. You can use any Delirium Orb that you want. Basically, you use one of them on this map. So this map now have 20% Delirious maps, and that will increase the number of monsters inside your maps, which also going to translate to the number of map bosses you're going to encounter in the maps. And next, let's talk about the Scarabs. I already mentioned Pandemoniums. I already mentioned Influence, Scarab, or Interference. And the next Scarab that we're going to use is Cartographic Scarab of Escalations. This is going to increase the map found in area, and this will increase your chances to found like Originator maps, Conqueror maps, and also the Mirage map, and also Mirage plus Originator maps. And these bonuses also depending on how many modifier affecting the area, and this is also another reason you want to have a 6 mod maps. The next scarab that we're going to use is a Category Scarab of Multitude. I'm going to use 2 of them. This is going to add 8 to 12 additional pack of monster that's going to drop increased maps. The drop increased map doesn't really important as much, but the 8 to 12 additional packs, and this can be replaced by map bosses by Horn Scarab of Pandemoniums. So we're going to use 2 of them. This is going to give us 16 to 24 additional packs. So now let's talk about Atlas passive tree. So this is my Atlas passive tree that I'm using. The first thing is we're going to take all the maps node, which is all the small node over here. This is going to increase the map font in your maps. And also this cluster of maps node over here, and this one going to give you more magic monster. This one going to give you rare monster, which is more monster, meaning more map monsters from pandemoniums. And this node also going to give your map that found on your area have a chance to become 1 tier higher. And next we're going to take all the explosive modifier, this one over here, and the next one is over here, and then these 3 pack size over here, and also the offensive adversary, and this is going to add more monster pack in your maps. And after that, you want to take all these nodes that going to give you Conqueror maps, synthesized map, and Elder and Shaper maps. And these 2 nodes over here are going to increase your chances to get the originator maps. And of course, the Deserted Plague Keystone over here. You also can take these 2 nodes. This can give you the Maven invitation for Atlas bosses. I personally don't really care because Maven Splinter prices already go down a lot. I don't think it's worth my 2 point over here because this strategy is actually pretty starved in points. And on the top side, there is a node that you can take, which these 2 nodes over here. If you want to get the memory thread, for me personally, it's not worth the point because the only memory that are good is memory of reference, and you basically need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points for this, and the memory of reference is already go down to 20 chaos, and I think it will keep going down because this is the node that I think most people are going to take because it's a free additional loot. In this case, I don't think it's worth the point. We will need it for other point on the passive tree. And I'm still at 131, so if you have additional point, you can take this one over here. There is also a map node on the over here, and also map node over here. This is also something you can take, and you can also take like some scarabs node, because we do get some scarabs, and we do take the scarab node over here, which make your scarab drop less likely to be common variety. And this one going to make the final map bosses have a 35% chance to drop additional scarabs. And this one going to make the unique monster drop more scarabs. The scarab is not a big part of the loot, but it's still a nice additional loot if you want to. And also for people who are able to craft their own Atlas strategy, you can also shift this map node into the scarabs node because we have a lot of unique monsters inside the map, so you probably can make a strategy that can generate you a decent amount of scarabs. So that's basically for the Atlas passive tree. And the last one is this block node over here. And the reason why we block all other mechanic in our maps is because it's going to increase your chances for the Mirage encounter to actually hit your boss. And this is going to be related to the next topic, which is which map to run. The map that I'm running on this test is City Square. Before this, I'm running Ashenwood. I think both of them is pretty similar. I think City Square is a little bit better, but you can choose between City Square or Ashenwood. The basic idea of the map that you want is the map that have a very small layout. Like City Square have a very small layout, Ashenwood has a very small layout too. And with a small layout, you have more chances for the Mirage to actually hit your map bosses. And that is important not only because the Mirage is going to double your boss encounter, but also the Mirage map only able to drop from the map bosses that inside the Mirage area. So you definitely want to run a maps that have a high chance for the Mirage area to hit the map boss. So on this test, I'm running 48 maps, and that's mean 12 invitation set. And from all of that, this is the loot that I get, and also this step over here. So you do get quite a lot of things from this one. And we got some currency, but the currency obviously not that much. We do get some Exalted, it's pretty rare, and this is the reason why you want to have as much quantity as possible. And we also get some Maven Chisel. Maven Chisel is not really that expensive anymore, except for only few of them. The only one that are expensive is the Alpharise. This one is for currency, and the other one is pack size, but the price is not super crazy. And this is also the reason why I'm not using Horn Scarab of Awakening, because this is probably something that people are going to ask me, why I'm not using Horn Scarab of Awakening. Because the price of the chisel is not worth it. And if you want to use Horn Scarab of Awakening, you cannot use Influence Scarab of Interference for whatever reasons. They seem to interfere with each other, so you have to choose one or the other. And we get plenty of Astrolabe. We got 5 Grasping, and Grasping have a really good price. For examples like for the Grasping, right now it's at like 450 chaos. And all the Astrolabe is still a very good price. For example, like Templar is still around 60 to 70 chaos. And for like runic, it's still also the same, 50 to 60 chaos. So the price of the astral loop is still really, really good. And then we got black barrier, and black barrier is a new invitation for the Mirage boss, and you can get this by a very specific mod on the Mirage area. There is a Mirage area options where you can get a Raiden that can spawn when you encounter map bosses, and they're going to drop black barrier. And because we have a lot of map bosses in the encounter, we can actually get quite a lot of black barrier every time you get that mod. And black barrier is also pretty expensive. I think it's around 250, if I remember it correctly. Yeah, it's around 200 chaos, so it's pretty good price. And we also have the fragment for the Conqueror, and also made from Splinter and made from Wraith. But this fragment is actually not worth that much of a currency, but it's an extra currency, I guess, because you're going to get them anyway. And the rest of the loot is basically maps. You see a lot of Nightmare maps, you see a lot of Mirage map, you see a lot of Originator maps. And you also have a map that look like this, which have a Mirage and also have an Originator. This is a very, very expensive maps, and this is probably used for like a very high-end choosing strategy. And the rest of them is just a Conqueror map. This is an Elder Guardians map, this is Shepherd Guardians maps, and then we have also synthesized maps. And then we have some scarabs, it's not too much of them. But on the calculation that I will show after this, I will not include the scarab inside the profit calculations. And this scarab probably going to give you additional, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 divine maybe. This is some extra currency, but it's not a big part of the profit. So this is a spreadsheet that I made, and the link will be in the descriptions. You can make a copy of this sheet, and you can change the price with the current price because the price will keep changing. So this showcase made in 13 March. So all the price that you see here is based on the current price when I made this video. So on this one, we have the cost, we have revenue, we have profit, and we profit 76 divine in 48 maps, which is a pretty good amount. And the average map time is 5 minutes for me, and I'm pretty sure you can run this map faster than me. I'm not actually a fast player, and the build that I'm running is pretty good, but definitely not the fastest. And with this amount of profit and this average map time, we are at 19 divine per hour, which I think is really, really good for a strategy that basically around low to mid budget. And the average divine per maps is 1.6. And here there is all the loot breakdown if you want to see them. Most of the profit basically come from the astral loop and also from the maps. For the fragment, this is a good amount, but most of them is come from black barrier. So this way you can see which item that's going to contribute the most for your profit. And this is a screenshot for all the items that I get inside the maps. I do tidy them a little bit. This is a habit of mine. Probably not necessary, but I like them to be organized like this so it's easier to see. And for this spreadsheet, whenever I do a new strategy or when testing a new stuff, you can always see them on this spreadsheet. But I will really appreciate it if you guys also watch the video, because that's how I make my living. And that will make me able to keep making content like this. So I will be very, very appreciated if you guys also watch the video. And I think that's it for the strategy. I think the strategy is really, really good. I'm really, really glad that I'm trying boss rushing this league. I never tried boss rushing on the early league. I'm always go to the map. So this is the first time I'm doing this. And I think the profit is really, really good relative to the cost. So I think that's it from me. And if you guys have any question, as usual, just leave in the comment below. I will try my best to answer it. And thank you everyone for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one.